All right, everybody, we've got another special guest today. My good friend from Toronto, Ontario, Tim Syrianos. How are you, my friend?
Oh, we the North, we're doing fantastic.
Yeah. So tell me. COVID is kind of taking the world by storm, but your agents have responded. If you can, before we get into it, just give me a brief introduction on some of the things you've been working on.
Well, a lot of people have asked me how things are, and one of the first things I tell people is that all we can do under the circumstances is keep positive while testing negative. We have to have the mindset of not allowing the 65,000 thoughts that traditionally go through our minds to be habitually negative, and to really focus on the opportunities that exist. For everybody, as you know, Doug, uh, this for us happened in the middle of March. Things were shut down in a drastic way. The entire world was even scared to touch an orange in a grocery store. That's how scary things were. The good news is that we demonstrated resilience. We demonstrated that the end of the world is not here. We've been through it. And now we are going through secondary lockdowns. We don't have any curfews here. There are some parts of the country that have some pretty tougher laws. But people know that we're 75% through. The word I want to use is hope, right? People know that that things are getting better now with the vaccines and everything else.
Yeah, well, no doubt. And I've just been noticing some of the things that you've been doing behind the scenes, and also like with your new website. I mean, you want to talk about totally getting a hold of this and doing this the right way. This has set up a foundation for your company and for your agents to be able to use with customers, because this is a consumer facing site, correct?
Absolutely. So our complete intent is not to demonstrate that we are number one. I don't believe anybody cares that you're number one. Too many people in the industry design websites. They go fishing with, they go fishing for marlin, but they go, with a net, and they're not specific to what they're looking for. So what happens is, in our case, I believe that you should have distinct websites or distinct offering for each individual in the marketplace. So when you go to Remax Ultimate, you have three choices. You're searching for homes, you're searching for commercial real estate, or you want to learn more about us. And those are three completely separate websites that are not designed to be one fits all.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I think because of how responsive it is and the amount of resources here, that people can get it fast. But more importantly, this conversation today is about securing more listings, right? So a
Yes.
question that kind of comes up quite a bit is, how quickly are you able to meet with somebody? How quickly are you able to respond to an answer or really provide that value in the moment? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up my little whiteboard here, and I'm just going to kind of ask you some questions, and we're going to facilitate this in a way that kind of brings out what your agents are experiencing, so that way we can give right time solutions for what they're looking for, right? So
Absolutely.
and so really, like, even if I go back here and I pull up this, I'm gonna do this second, is when you look at the appointment, right, to secure a listing, there are tasks that need to be done before you meet a homeowner in person, or in this case, it would be screen to screen. There are tasks that you do during the meeting, right? The presentation, the dialogue, the consultation, and then there's things that you do after the meeting, right? And
Yes.
then there's also the situation. Well, gosh, how many meetings does it take in order to get the listing? Do you get it the first time? Does it take several different meetings? It all depends on the client. It all depends on is it a husband and wife that live out of town? So you have decision makers where you need to kind of patch in, uh, feed in people to your Zoom meeting or whatever tool that you're using. So there's all these things that kind of start to come up that's different from being face to face. So maybe you just real quickly, you can share with me some of the challenges that you hear from some of the agents in your office with respects to, you know, just getting the appointment, right? Or just being able to overcome some of those objections on, I'd rather be in person, when we just can't.
Yeah. So we've discovered that the consumer is more open to meeting screen to screen instead of face to face than ever before. And a lot of the moments that we think they're objections, in actuality they're opportunities. And it's funny how you wrote that down as I was thinking it. People are actually very, very, very open to meeting to screen. And our creator gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I believe it comes down to asking the right questions and listening intently on their needs and what their plans are. But I even go one step further, one step before that. I always like to find out more about the people I'm going to actually be meeting, their why. And typically I ask people, and I also coach and teach people to ask, what people do for a living. And if they didn't do that for a living, what would they really want to do for a living? I want to get into their personality so I know how to present to them. Because
Yeah.
because many people just kind of start talking and opening their mouth and believe they're providing a lot of value when in essence their words are falling on deaf ears. So just because somebody is an accountant does not mean that their passion is accounting. They may be crying inside to be an artist. They
Yeah.
may be crying inside to be, a real estate agent. There's a disconnect with what they're really doing, with what they really want to do. But we actually make the mistake of delivering information based on, what they're doing right now and not discovering more.
Yeah, it's a huge, like, that's a right. That is a bigger deal than I think most people would ever allude to, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest mistakes that I see is people quickly go into the screen share and start talking about stuff without finding what that deeper connection is, or what their how they make decisions before even going into the meeting, right? So there's what's so great about at least being before meeting screen to screen is how much information we have at our fingertips about other people, right?
Yes.
Like, really, like the amount of, I don't know if there's any tools that you recommend that have been useful. I mean, it could be something as simple as Facebook. It could be LinkedIn. What do you see? What do you see? Good sources.
Tools people using to discover more about who the other person is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, absolutely. All the social media channels are critical for, I mean, if any people don't believe that they're being creeped, they're actually going on, the consumer's not going on to see how you're posting and who you are, you're fooling yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, employees are doing it for future employees. Before any interview, I mean, I had a contractor come to my house on the outside just to talk with masks on and everything else about what needs to be done. But I knew everything about their design style and the kind of work they do even before we had the appointment.
Yeah.
So the idea is don't let it just be done to you. You should be doing it to them, right?
Yeah.
But the bigger message there too, Doug, is be careful what you're posting as well, because the cameras are always on.
I mean, this all happens before, right? This is exactly where we are right now, is just talking about what we have to do before, right? And then there's also the technical challenges that people might have. People might not be able to, their internet speed might not be fast enough, or the consumer's internet speed or the customer's internet speed might not be fast enough, right?
Sure.
Or there might be situations where the technology starts to get in the way.
Yes.
Right? Like
Yes.
sometimes we force the technology on people so much that it distracts from our actual objective, which is securing the listing, right?
And that's in every industry, not just in real estate. You can't put everybody in a box. In our brokerage, we actually have a saying amongst our staff, and we have to remind each other quite often that technology is here if you want it, but we're here if you can't do it. So the idea is, you need to be in the moment and understanding, different people. Now, if their internet speed is not fast enough, but they want to be, there's always using things like FaceTime. There's other ways that you can use different media that through their mobile device, for example, that might be easier to use. But you got to work through those moments. The deeper connection is the most important. The asking the questions of their why, understanding where they're coming from,
Yeah.
where they were, where they are, where they want to go. I mean, whether you're interviewing for a listing appointment, or if I'm interviewing with an agent who's thinking about having their career go to a different level, um, we forget that we've all been new before. We forget that we've also had our struggles in our career before.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest lessons I tell a real estate agent is, have you moved lately? When's the last time that you've moved?
Right. Right.
Right? Why don't you ask yourself how stressful it was for you, and just be more empathetic. So it kind of helps the process, and you can learn different tools you can institute within your program and processes.
Yeah, no doubt. There's something I want to bring up and I want to share with you. As far as before the meeting happens, and it's often overlooked because scheduling the meeting is critical, right? If we can't schedule the meeting, people don't show up on time. It's like we have no meeting. And I know at least I've had it happen where I've driven out to show a property and somebody didn't show up, and how painful that is. We want to try to reduce the likelihood of there's no shows. And I don't know if you've seen this tool. Zoom has it. It's called a browser extension. So do you see on the top right hand side of my screen where there's just this little kind of thing that pops up? This is the browser extension. So I can schedule the meeting with a client right from my internet browser because it's hooked up with Zoom. And so when you take a look at this, this is the default message that pops up here. I can then type in 123 Main Street if I wanted to, right? Choose the time and the day. Now here's the opportunity I think a lot of people miss is writing in the special notes as far as what's going to be discussed during the meeting. So that's a huge missed opportunity that I see, 9 times out of 10. I'm just people are missing this. Also, not only adding text to this welcome email, but also if there's any PDFs, right? If there's any supporting resources, if we go back to asking do you have a guide that you give out for people? Well, maybe, you take a look at some of these links right here. And then this now becomes a part of your email signature. When a meeting like this is scheduled, now you can insert these links in here as part of the message. And then, right then, if I put in your name right here, it synchronizes with your calendar. So now you don't have to go searching for the email, right? You don't have to go searching for which Zoom meeting link is it? Is it yours or it's mine? It's all synchronized within the calendar. So when this is done, right, this will increase the likelihood that people will show up. Also, another note to this is get your customer's cell phone number, right? Their mobile phone number, not their work phone number, which, it's what we used to do, right? We get you, okay, home
Right.
phone number, work number. Now the one is the mobile phone number, because guess what? How many times have you been on a meeting and then someone's been running late?
Quite often.
Right? It happens quite a bit.
It's
And,
like,
and so many times we kind of go into this freak mode or panic mode where we're not sure, are they going to join? I've been preparing this entire time. Well, if we have their mobile phone number, then we can obviously say, hey, are you joining today, or do we need to reschedule? I wanted to throw that in there because there's so many people that kind of like overlook that. Um, uh, Now we could probably talk about what happens during the meeting, right? During like once I send the Zoom meeting link to you and then you click on it, like what's the experience that we're trying to create for somebody, right? Like are we you had mentioned using your ears and your mouth in equal proportion. So my question now becomes: is do your agents kind of have a list of rapport building questions to be able to build that connection deep enough that then ask for permission to share your screen? What happens so many times is people go into the screen share and lose people when they haven't earned the right. So
great point.
so kind of in summary, like you have to earn the right to be able to share your screen with somebody. And that happens through developing a deeper emotional connection. And you know what the language is that people use to tell you when it's okay to share your screen. You know what they say?
They're nodding.
Yeah, they're not in there. Say, tell me more. When they
Correct.
say tell me more, or can you tell me a little bit more about what that means, or can you be a little bit specific? Then I say, oh, well, gosh, I'm so glad that you asked. In fact, why don't I kind of go to the website or the document so we can talk about that one-on-one, right? This way is kind of, there's a little bit more of a flow. Then once we're in screen share mode, we need to be cognizant of what the other person is experiencing in a real-time dialogue. And let me tell you what I mean by that specifically. Have you ever been a part of a conversation before where somebody just kind of goes on and on and on and on?
Yes.
And then you lose interest?
Yes.
Then you start checking your phone, you start doing other things. So that's why it's critically important to be able to keep somebody's attention through a variety of different ways. And I'm kind of demonstrating that through, this type of environment. So when you look at the resources, I'll make a list of the resources that someone would use during the listing presentation. What do your agents use? It could be a video, it could be a PDF. What are some of the visuals because we're not on the phone anymore, right? We don't have the printed books and binders anymore, right?
Correct.
What are the visuals that digital resources that your team has access to? And they could be a specific web page, right?
Well, absolutely. So since you're asking me, I will share what I really enjoy where you're going with this is we need to demonstrate the same type of process as if we are face-to-face. Yeah. I don't believe that you knock on somebody's door at an appointment and you have your brochure open at the front door. I believe that you walk in and you have your introductions, your rapport building questions, and you have some conversation, and then you have permission to actually go into the presentation based on the needs that you've already established to have or need. I don't believe that we just walk into a meeting and have everything ablazing, all open at the same time. So you wouldn't do that at a door. You wouldn't do that, over screen to screen either. So you need to treat it as if you are in the same steps as if you are meeting face to face, and not forget that. Yeah. And everything that you would have had in print, since you can't be face to face, digitize them and have them in the same order as you always had. So you can actually walk through them the exact same way and not fumble through things.
Well, there's no doubt. And when you think about like even just a listing presentation, I kind of alluded to this earlier. Somebody has 60 slides in 60 minutes. You're not gonna rattle those things off, right? You're only gonna show the ones that are going to be specific to their needs and not overwhelm them, right? So that's where we're going to kind of demonstrate a little bit of flexibility with some visuals. So you probably use some sort of CMA, right? A competitive market analysis that takes a look at home prices and evaluates them, why some are worth more than others. What's another visual you might pull up during a listing presentation?
Oh, the market stats is an overall market.
Yeah, market stats.
Yeah.
What else?
Past performance.
Agent performance.
Yes.
Cool. And then I'm gonna put company. That's gonna be CO for short.
Yeah.
Company performance. What else?
All the added value that you provide, whether it's home staging or fix-it services or other things that are part of your deliverables.
Aging, marketing, right? So
correct.
Kind of like this. I mean, so what in Missouri, where they call us the show me state, right? So like show me. So we're gonna have some fun here. I'm gonna pull up one of your listings here.
Well, it's interesting how you're talking about the show me state. I have a saying that I believe is very, very valuable when it comes to presentations. I say sellers buy image and buyers buy homes. So sellers buy image. What you're demonstrating right now and the way you're carrying yourself and what your marketing material is and how you're going to promote and achieve the highest value for their property
Yeah.
is the key, the show me part.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we're like, I'm inside the house, but it's like I'm right outside the front of the house right now. Right.
Correct.
But I'm not. I mean,
Yeah.
this could be something that could almost be like an open house too, right? Where I could quickly go from, one room to the other and then talk about a specific listing, right?
Sure.
This is one of those value added services. Now, you know what most people are doing right now with this is if they're having a Zoom meeting, then they say, okay, well, now I need permission to be able to share your screen. And I only have one option to be able to display this, right? There isn't any interactivity. There isn't anything. It's just whatever I can do inside the screen. So one of the things that to make a note, at least for your team, is to if they're serious about creating this kind of in-camera experience where you can have it appear inside of Zoom meetings or Microsoft Team meetings or go to webinar or Facebook Live, right? Where you now have a real person, but your website is the background, right? The document, the contract is the background. The digital whiteboard that you just saw is the background. Now, there isn't one way to do this, right? There is your way. And yeah, some of these things start off by you have to have a little bit of a technical understanding. But just like you learned to use the computer keyboard when you were 13, right? My son's
Yeah.
5 now. My son's 5 now, isn't doing the computer shortcuts, Control A, Control C, blows you away. But you don't think about it, right? You don't think about it. So this is kind of one of those things that I firmly believe will set the trend for the next few years, whether or not we're able to meet, face to face.
Absolutely. And even if in the future we come back to meeting face to face, which we will, how about doing your weekly market update this way with your client if the property is not selling? Why not find ways to utilize this tool to save time and become more efficient and work on their timeline and not just your own?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And you've seen I don't know if you've seen this tool before. It's called Loom. Are you familiar with Loom?
I've seen it before.
So I'm gonna Google it so you know that it's out there. And when I click on it, it's gonna take me into my account. In fact, it's a Google Chrome extension that you can download, and it helps you create videos, right?
Right?
Really fast videos. So if I was gonna go back to where we were with the digital whiteboard and say, okay, what are some of the things that we could do after, right? Or
Yes.
it could be during. I'm going to record a quick video of this listing, right? And you need to think about, okay, number one, how long is it going to take for me to record this video, right? Number two is if I do any editing, how quickly am I able to get it out the door, right? Three is, do I need to involve anybody else as part of the process to get it out the door? And so, if you put together videos or training videos before, it can be an arduous task, right?
It could be, yes.
So I have the Loom extension plugged in. I'm just going to click on the button here so you can see how it shows up right here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So right now I have a couple options. I can do screen and camera, so in the bottom you see 2 videos of me, but the one with the green bubble.
Yes.
Okay, that's actually my FaceTime camera. I'm going to switch it to my virtual cam. Now, you can kind of see how I've kind of gone
Yes.
there, but I'm kind of like in 2 places at once. But
Yes,
at
you
least
are.
you know that this is the virtual camera that I have plugged in. So the virtual camera is software, right? It's not hardware. It's software that you buy that allows you to create this multi-scene environment approach, right? And then I just choose my microphone. And then once I have everything set up and ready, now all I have to do is just click start recording, right? So just like a movie studio, or just choose the screen, like a movie studio, 3, 2, 1, action. Hey, this is Doug with Remax Ultimate. I want you to check out this house here on West Hill. Right now, it's currently listed at $699,000. But I tell you what, this is not going to last, and I'm going to show you why. the parking spaces on this street, you just can't get a parking space. So just know that this house has one of them. This is Doug DeVitri. You've got my phone number. Hope you guys have a great day. Now, I probably would have, spent a little bit more time and been thoughtful about it. But, when you look down here at the bottom, how quickly did it take for me to create this video?
Seconds.
Seconds. Okay. How quickly does it take for you to create let's say a CMA, or be able to pull up some sort of automated home value if you have a property address?
Minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when you think about how quickly you can like create a video of the market statistics, could be a line item in the contract that somebody had a question about. It could be, it could be a video of a listing like we just had. See at the top here, here's this link.
Yes.
All I have to do, what's the shortcut for copy? Control C. What's the shortcut for paste? Now I'm going to go to our private chat and then just paste it here in the chat, just so you can see how fast this is. Now, when you think about time to task, if somebody asks in a Facebook group, right? Let's say it's the Toronto Chamber of Commerce group, right? Not even real estate related. And then somebody asks, hey, how's the market? Right?
Yes. Are you asking me?
Yeah. Like so they just ask anybody, right? How's the real estate market? Now you have a choice, right? Number one, do I want to get involved in this conversation? Probably, especially if it's a high profile group and you want to demonstrate your values. So then how long would it take for you to type out a response to that on your keyboard? How long could it take?
It can take it could take a while, because you're actually thinking a lot about what you want to write. It can take a couple minutes, or it can take 15 because you're overthinking it.
Totally, right?
Right?
Totally. I mean, I've been guilty of that too. Well, think about how fast we were just able to create a video, copy the link, post it as a comment. Now you can see how many people have looked at this thing. Now you've got value out the door. Then you can move on to something else, right? So even if you're an agent and you're working with a customer and they say, or we're working with let's say a seller, and they say, well, I'm not so sure about the municipal ordinances that we have to deal with when it has with signs. You could go to the website, record a quick video, send it off to them faster than it would take for you to type out the email. And, you get your smiling mug attached to it too.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Just reminder to everybody to keep on smiling.
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, like, they get so intense and focused on these meetings, and technology can always be like, even if you do make mistakes, you're kind of like, everyone has that grumpy cat look. Right? Like they're like,
oh, good.
Or they're looking close at the screen. Here's something that I do. This is something that's real easy. I'm not going to take it off, but I have one of those emoji stickers that's right next to my web camera. So when I look at it, it kind of reminds me to smile. Something that's, super cheap. But it's just always my signal that I've got to smile. So cool.
Those are great tips, Doug.
Yeah, these are just simple things that don't take a whole lot of time, don't take a whole lot of money. The issue just is how can I get creative around some of these solutions? And it's really up to your personal preference. What I would do, if I was the broker of Remax Ultimate, right? Is I would have a challenge. I would issue a challenge to your agents in your office to see who can create the best Loom video of a specific task. Right now, it could be to showcase your listing. You could, if you were collecting these links, right, even through a survey, you can quickly go through the survey results and then see the links to all the different videos. You can even make it available for everybody to look at so they can go in and vote themselves. And again, this doesn't take a whole lot of time to do. And and that becomes marketing ammunition to then feed out to the marketplace.
So I'm open to all of our agents watching today or tomorrow to send me your videos through Loom. And I'm open to that challenge. I'm going to definitely share this and make sure that that I was on this video with you, this call today with you, to make sure that I've actually embraced it as well.
Yeah, cool. And I get no benefit from promoting Loom, right? It's just one of the tools that I use. It's free. It's
Yes.
easy. Um, and so it's like, why haven't we been using this all along? And especially I think when you find too, if you start creating some of your training videos internally, this will come in a real handy solution because you already have a lot of the dynamics that will be able to produce that video file for you.
Yes. Oh, that's great. Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, in thinking about staying connected, I would because I know there's gonna be one agent in your office that does this, right?
Oh, there'll be more than one.
No, this one thing that I'm gonna
Okay.
suggest. That's like the cream of the crop, right? The one who's
Of course.
the one who rises to the challenge. Because see, we all have an ability to make an impact inside of this little square called the webcam, right? We all have the ability to make the impact inside this little square. So when you think about the strategic partners inside of a real estate transaction, and we're going to divide this into kind of the Brady Bunch. Who are the transactional partners who a realtor relies upon in order to get the transaction done?
Oh, so I mean, it's quite different here. We don't have the escrow title type companies.
Yeah.
Things are all kind of all encompassing in one. The primary partners would be your mortgage partner, right? Your financing partner, we'll call it.
Yep.
We have our solicitors or our law firm. We have the in-house legal counsel that assists all our agents provide the advice required or consumers choose to close their transaction with.
Great.
We actually have our videographer. We have our stager. Let you write that down.
Yeah. Inspector.
Your inspector. That never changes.
Accountant.
That's been. Pardon me?
Accountant.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Your insurance.
Insurance.
Your admin team of our brokerage is an extension is a partner with our agents. So I would say the admin team for the transaction process, right? To take it from firm to close.
Yeah. I'm going to add in this OOT, out of town referral partner, right?
That's a good one.
And Toronto's a big, a lot of movement, right? So I'm sure you get a lot of referrals coming in and out. And then there's inside in the middle, this is you, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing. When we look at, if I'm just going to go live myself, right? And I go to all of my channels, yeah, maybe a few people are going to watch it, right? But if I start to invite more people into the conversation and I am the host, it's no different than hosting your first time buyer seminar, right? Where you kind of have invited all your people in. Well, now we're doing it by Zoom. So if we send out an invite to any one of our transaction partners, now we can talk about the issues that come up in mortgage, the issues that come up in the inspection, the issues that come up when doing your books at the end of the year for your investment property, right? Like there are real issues and problems that people are dealing with, and you wouldn't talk about a specific person, right? Like call their name out, whatever. But in terms of the generalities of it, you want to make sure that other people avoid those mistakes, right? So when you start to look around the room, if you have 100 people on your list, how many people would the mortgage person have?
Let's just say it's 100 people on their list.
Probably 100 people. Now, again, this is all relative, just kind of as an example. But now we've invited more people, and we've invited, and the mortgage person, do you think the mortgage professional is going to send this out so that um, his or her customers can watch the video?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's marketing for them. And here's the thing, how much time did it take for them to participate? Just the time slot itself. What's the shelf life of this conversation? It lasts forever as long as it's
Forever.
kept up online. And when you think about the cost for this,
I think I heard zero.
yeah, there's no cost. So this now becomes the strategic multiplier. And then if we want to even get creative here too, um, I'm just kind of coming up with these things as we're going along. I can even create a recurring meeting,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I can repeat this thing every weekly on Friday or weekly on Monday at a specific time. Now my people know that at this time we're going to talk about real estate in Toronto, and I want you to be there so that you can talk about um um I was going to say painting, but the legal restricts the tax implications, on the
Yeah,
transfer tax, right? I guess that's a
sure.
no. So,
It could be any government changes. It could be about any topic. It
you
could
know,
be anything relevant. It could be the news of the week, for example, something that you don't even anticipate happening, but now it's relevant to discuss on that day.
yeah. And when you think about like, I don't know who would you be, and like, who would you compare yourself? Are you like uh, an Oprah? Are you an Ellen? Are you like as a host? Are you
Oh no,
Dr.
neither one.
Phil? Because that's kind of what we're and here's the thing is just, there's kind of new guests that
Yeah.
come and go, right? But
Yes,
the host, who do people remember? Where's the origination of the referral gonna be? And then how valuable do you now become to your referral partners who don't know how to set all of this up, themselves?
very valuable.
Yeah.
Very, very valuable. These are the kind of this is the stick that stirs the drink, is what you're telling me right now.
It's there's levels to this, Tim, right?
Yes,
There's like one step at a time. And I think, if you're a newer agent and you have all this thrown at you, this can seem overwhelming, right?
absolutely.
It really can. And so maybe just something that I've learned is that if you're new, the best way to learn something is to teach it, right?
Yes,
So if I'm a new agent, I just attended an MLS class, maybe I'm going to create some Loom videos to share with a customer this is how I do a property search, and the type of service that I can provide. And now that's just reinforcement of the conversation that they're going to have. And again, it's not like they just learned this, you know, just last week or just earlier today.
for sure. I mean, it's always comes down to doing the under the circumstances of where our world is moving, how it's moving, and what's been thrust upon us. These are conversations we had way before any pandemic. These are goals we had before this time. The idea is people were already ready for it, but we were resistant to
Mm,
this change. We were resistant to this opportunity. And now, what I've discovered over the past year is all my goals that I had before 2020 were put into overdrive to get done,
mm.
because now everybody was receptive to doing this, right? There are people with open concept homes who are now creating different closed environments so they can do this type of meeting from home and be set up. I believe that we are the resistance, not the consumer, not society. The resistance is always within ourselves. So I always say that we need to start by doing the necessary.
Yeah.
And then once we do the necessary, then we do the possible, right? The possible now gets done. And suddenly we're doing the impossible, right? So the impossible is where we think we are doing what we think we can't do today. But the necessary is having a Zoom account. And then the possible is understanding Loom. And all of a sudden, you've completed the impossible by doing a presentation like the one that you did for us today, Doug.
Yeah.
So I hope that kind of puts the entire Facebook, live recording that we're doing together into a certain, this is what I got out of it. For everybody listening and watching, this is what I got out of it. You need to start with the necessary. The necessary is that everyone is open to this, and everyone wants this. So the next part is the possible. I'm sorry for repeating myself. The possible is to set up the accounts, and the biggest critic is ourselves, right? We are our own worst critic.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's nothing perfect in this world. There's always a learning opportunity. But guess what? They say, what's the best time to buy real estate? 10 years ago. What's the next best time to buy real estate? Today, right? It's no different.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity that we all have. And I want to thank you for doing what you did here today and sharing and allowing me to be a part of it and sharing what you did. It's I thought I knew what to do, and I just discovered new ways to do things.
Well, this is what makes it work, right? Is this relationship where we just keep feeding off of one another, pushing each other to do our best. And I'm just so grateful for you showing up today to be able to share some of these ideas with us and then pass them on to your team. So Tim, I can't thank you enough. I wish you the best the rest of this year, and I look forward to our next conversation as always.
Always. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Big round of applause for our friend Tim. Remax Ultimate in Toronto, Ontario. He's got, I think, 3 offices now, right?
3 offices, 250 agents. We're involved in over 3,000 transactions a year. We outperform the market, and we're in Toronto's best neighborhoods, actually. We are located in Toronto's best neighborhoods.
Yeah. Cool. All right, my friend, we'll keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Take care.